Bitcoin bulls continue to hold on by a thread, and there could be an impulsive move which is coming soon. So in today's show, we're going to identify whether that move happens to the upside or the downside. We're coming off relatively low volatility if you look on the high time frames, and we're going to have a look at how this ties in with the stock market, the DXY, as well as what's going on in China. So without further ado, let's get started. And if you look at the Banter bubbles chart over here, you can see looking nice and green on the hourly. Definitely bulls are trying to take a little bit of control over here, pushing prices towards the upside. And we were kind of looking at certain levels to be hit yesterday, and we'll cover were those levels defended, were they hit, is it bears chance over and bulls taken back full control. Well, let's see. Let's start off over here with this tweet, which comes from Wu Blockchain, and he says the correlation between Bitcoin and Chinese equities, which they're measuring this CSI 300, has strengthened this year. Although it remains relatively low at 20%, the regulatory and economic reopening in China is increasingly influencing crypto market sentiment. Interestingly, the correlation between Bitcoin and the US equity markets has decreased, reaching a multi-year low, which happened in April. And we covered that yesterday. So you can see over here the correlation between the stock markets. If the stock markets tend to go up, usually you would expect this correlation to come back into sync. So we got the Nasdaq, the S&P 500 and Bitcoin, Nasdaq in light blue, S&P 500 in white, and Bitcoin in the orange over here. So expecting that these should mean revert back towards each other. That may mean that Bitcoin goes up a little bit and the stock markets come down slightly to find some sort of equilibrium. You can see if you look back in the past, we've kind of hovered around this 2.4% level. On the equity market, that's going to be around that 41.35 zone. So let's see if there is going to be some sort of rebalancing. The DXY though is on the move. It's currently pushing towards the upside. Typically, this means a little bit of weakness for the stock market as well as crypto. So we'll watch this carefully. We said if it were to reject, we'd want to see the rejection take place from somewhere around here so that the DXY forms a lower high. But I told you I'm going to bet on the side of the trend. And although I am looking for Bitcoin to still bounce and I'm looking for this to more than likely form as a higher low, the current price levels on Bitcoin, I do still have to bet that this is going to have continuation towards the upside, at least until this T2 target on the DXY, that being 105.8. Now, what does that mean for Bitcoin? Well, if I'm looking for Bitcoin to continue on up, it might just mean that Bitcoin consolidates sideways and slowly moves up as opposed to a big explosive move. So we'll have to just see. We'll watch this carefully. In order for this to come down properly and confirm the lower high, we need to see it break below T1, which is this level over here coming in at 103.36. So that's the DXY. That's what we're watching over there. Now, I very quickly, okay, let's see, I moved too quickly there. Let's go on to the S&P 500 futures. Yesterday, I did give a short trade based on just, pure TA structurally. It's just an easy invalidation trade, and therefore I thought it's worth taking. So how does the trade work? Well, we got the pivot levels right based on this trend line over here. We're coming into a strong resistance level. The probability of flipping this now is not necessarily that high. It's still more likely that you can expect a rejection from that zone, and we'd need to see multiple closes above this level, above the gray box territory, in order to confirm that the S&P 500 is breaking out from this zone. So how does this work? Well, let's zoom in over here. I told you yesterday that the only way that I would invalidate, I don't have a hard stop, I have a soft stop. Now, what does a soft stop mean? It means that as opposed to having a hard stop, if the price were to just push above that previous candle's high, you stop out. Instead, I want to see a close. So I'm okay with price if it even pushes up this high, but it's just a wick that gets left behind on the let's say the 4-hour chart over here, and it closes back below. That's fine. I'm still in the short trade. So I need to see a close happen above like that in order to stop out of this position. Now, the reason I wanted to bring this up is because I've received a lot of questions on how to take these trades. I'm on PrimeXBT is where I'm taking the trade. If you look through the whole list over here, they have CFD, crypto, Forex. Now, what you need to do is you need to go to CFD, or you can just scroll down alphabetically. You can go to SP 500, click on that. Here's the trade that I've got on at the moment. Now I'm scaling into the position. You can see here is the trade margin. For example, this is the profit level, P&L, currently 26 cents in the red. I plan on adding into this position. I thought I'll do it live on the show for you just to show you how this works. Now, it kind of works similar to Forex, whereby these are your lot sizes, right? So 0.01 would mean whatever equity you have in that account. I have $5,000. 0.01 would be 0.01% of that $5,000. Bear in mind that on this platform, you're trading at 200x leverage. That is cross margin, meaning that it's fixed at that level. You don't adjust that. You adjust your margin, the amount that you're adding into the position. So if you wanted to take on a full size position, you would basically click 1. That means you'd be entering the full $5,000. So I'm running at 0.05, and that is based off this. This is called crypto win rate. You can go to the site cryptowinrate.com. Now, you privileged in crypto. In crypto, you're usually able to just very easily calculate your position size, because a lot of the exchanges will show the percentage that you would lose if you were to get stopped out and where you're wrong. But in Forex and other markets, you actually need to calculate that risk size. So let's give you an example here. I've got a $5,000 trading balance, which I put in over there. My stop loss is 0.7% away, give or take. Remember, I have a soft stop. So let's just measure from here. Let's just assume you're measuring from there to there. Where do I get that number from? Well, let's say it stops out somewhere around there. That's about 0.79% away. So I put in 0.7. How much am I willing to risk of my equity? 3%. Leverage on the exchange, 200. Click calculate. It gives you a required margin. Therefore, I need to enter $107, 107.14 of that $5,000, which gives me a position size of $21,428. That is the size that I'm taking. If I get stopped out, I lose $150, which is 3% of the 5,000. Let me know in the comments, say capiche if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, then just say it doesn't make sense. Cool. So here we have it. I'm going to enter another trade over here. Again, this is just to give you an example, 0.05 sell, and I don't have, remember I have a soft stop. So I will be monitoring this on a day-to-day basis. So market order, sell, and pretty much I'm just hitting it, confirm. There's the next order. Now I have 2 orders. You can see them on the bottom here. And as price moves up, I'll be continuing to scale into that. So I hope that makes sense. If you do want to trade these crypto stocks, commodities, Forex, there is a link in the description below, which takes you to PrimeXBT. And then I also do want to remind you that if you go onto my Twitter over here, I did make a post yesterday. There you go. I said that I will also be giving away, have a look over there. I said I will choose candidates from the comment section below, very specific on the instructions and how it works. I'll be giving away 20% sign-up bonuses to those who sign up using my link. So basically, you deposit $1,000 into the account, and then you get 20% on that, which is $200, which is free to trade with. Bear in mind, you can't put the $1,000 in, trade with the 200, and then remove the 1,000, because that will affect your margin, and therefore you will risk being closed out of that trade. So this is free to trade with, but you still need to leave the $1,000 in. You choose the amount that you want. Make sure you click that specific link to sign up, and then I make a comment over here with your user ID, and then I'm going to pick 5 people later on today. Cool. I think we can move on from that. I hope that position size calculator helps you with your trading going forward. Cool. Next, let's go into Glassnode over here. So he says here, with prices tight and the volatility spring coiled, the Bitcoin market looks increasingly ready to move out of the current equilibrium. As long-term holder spending ticks marginally higher, we present a series of on-chain tools to help navigate the volatile road ahead. And you can have a look at this. Look at these metrics over here. We already went through that capitulatory environment, and we're now currently in the transitionary phase that is based on the MVRV scores. So it's looking so far like the market is ready to make the next move. And you can see it within all of these metrics over here. The exchange activity momentum ratio is also starting to change over here. The histogram is starting to pick up. And then the monthly realized volatility bands have been contracted to all-time low levels. And usually when that starts to turn, the tide starts to turn, you expect the next big impulsive move to take place. So that's kind of what we're waiting for now. But you need to get your pivot levels absolutely perfect and precise, because we're right on the cusp of the next big move, and it really could go either way. Up or down, genius? Yes, it's up or down. At the moment, the bulls have the slight edge, but I want to give you the levels where they fail. So what are those levels? Well, let's have a look at this chart over here. Put a big X there. I mean, that makes it, if I can't make it any more obvious than that. At the moment, as long as the Bitcoin bulls continue to push price off of this EMA cluster over here, the MA is an EMA cluster. What are the levels that I have? The orange one is the 200 weekly MA. The white one over here is the 200 EMA. And then we have the yellow 21 EMA. So we want to see price hold above that. On the weekly chart, if you start to see any closes take place below that level, so what is the level? Let's say $25,000, give or take. At the moment, it's $25,000. You close below that, you're probably going to start to see expansion towards the downside. Now, if you do see a candle that comes down like this and it quickly wicks back up, but still closes there, fine, that's bullish. Still pretty bullish. I'd say that's even more bullish, because then it's going to start to look like this candle, and you can see the demand that kicked in. Bulls defended those EMAs and pushed price back above, making sure that it closes at that level. So slight edge to the bulls. Don Crypto Trade says, well, over here, I agree with this. These are similar EMAs and MAs that I use. He says Bitcoin is now trading back above its 4-hour, 1-day, and 1-week 200 moving average and exponential moving average. As long as these are held, it's usually a good indicator of a bullish trend on multiple different time frames. So far, so good. Basically hold these levels and it looks good. Close below those levels and immediately things start to shift back down. So same thing over here. 4-day chart, you guys know it very, very well now. High, low, high, low. We want this to confirm as the next high low. If we get a green candle close on this 4-day candle, of which we have 2 days and 18 hours left to go, so you close green on that, you can more than likely confirm with a high probability that that is your third higher low after making the ultimate lows in the market. And then I'd be starting to focus on this as the breakout level. 30,496 rounded up, 30,500 we start to break out for Bitcoin, and then you're looking at a big impulsive move into that $35,000, $36,000 level. Somewhere around there is where you expect the next higher high to form. So looking good. I also had a look this morning at the Ichimoku cloud. Now we've been holding that. I've got that matched up with the ADX, which is the average directional index, looking at the DI positive and negative. So the green line represents the bulls on the bottom. The red line represents the bears. Now, what you typically want to see is the green cross above the red. If you have a look over here, that happened last time that happened, or let's look at the times this year that it took place. We have similar markers which are currently showing us what's happening in the market, right? We have that period of extremely low volatility. We have a drop in open interest, and then we have negative funding rates. This is what I warned you of all the way back here. I said if something like that happens, you can expect that it's more a bullish indicator than a bearish indicator. They say don't short a dull market. When the market starts to become dull, which it did over here, you don't want to start shorting that market because you get big expansive moves off of the lows, and that's exactly what happened. The DI positive crossed the negative, green above the red, and the ADX average directional index began to pick up, signaling that the bulls were taking full control. That led to a massive move from $17,200 and a push price all the way up to about $25,000. We then came down, kind of reset. This was the USDC scare. Same thing over here. Friday the 10th of March, you had the cross where the ADI or the DI positive crossed above the DI negative, so green above red. Bulls took control. Yes, you didn't have it supported by the average directional index, but nevertheless, bouncing off the Ichimoku cloud cross over here on the bottom, and price went up all the way from that $19,000 level up to about $30,000 or $31,000. Now we kind of have something similar going on, but we have more support, right? Look at how you've again come into the Ichimoku cloud over here, acting as support, holding that support level of $26,000, and you're about to get the cross. But the difference is this looks more like price did at 16K because you have the average directional index, which is reset all the way to these lows, signifying that when it does take off over here, you have a lot of potential momentum towards the upside. And I'll be watching that very, very closely. This is something that I want to see. You want to see these pick on up like that, cross back over, ADX push on up, and then bulls to send price aggressively. So this could be happening very soon, within the next couple of days to sometime within the week. Bring up the 𝗕𝗍𝗵𝗕 indicator. We haven't brought that up for a while. You can see we've also started to reclaim those EMA ribbons. So yes, they still printed gray over here, which kind of suggests if you're trading the strategy, that depends if you're trading the strategy or not. If you are, this means it's a no trade zone. You would then be waiting until you see a green cross like that. So once all these EMAs change from gray into green and blue, that's your signal to enter. The only problem is oftentimes that happens off of a big candle, massive candle. Look at this one. It went from, this was a $2,000 candle, 22,200 to 24,200-ish. So $2,000 candle. That means you're obviously going to end up buying higher. But expect that this cross could potentially take place. Ethereum looks exactly the same. Holding above the EMA ribbons, expect that these are going to start to turn green if it continues to remain at these levels and hold around that zone. Okay, CME gap. Bitcoin CME gap over here. Is it that bullish that bulls are already front running this gap? It is possible. You can see over here, we did have a little bit of a pullback into the gap. I mentioned to you guys, we're looking for a little bit of lower levels. We're expecting maybe around that 27,300. So something like that, 27,300. That is still a possibility, but you need to make those decisions for yourself. You need to outline where does the long trigger happen? At what point do you say that this has been front run and they're already taking price higher? So keep a close eye on that. I think it's going to be dependent on the stock market. It's kind of a contradictory indicator that I'm giving over here because I'm looking at the stock market to potentially come down from a structural standpoint, DXY to push up. So you would have to ask yourself, well, why would Bitcoin do anything different? Why would Bitcoin go up and not down if the correlation that it usually has to the stock market is there? Well, the only thing that I can answer that around that is basically this is the decorrelation. Maybe the decorrelation will continue. So something to pay attention to. Next, dominance. And I saw somebody in the comments over there saying that bullish dominance over, they said Kyle's bullish dominance over bearish Rand. Yes, we have to counter trade Rand sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes. Cool. Let's have a look over here at the Bitcoin dominance though. You can see big move. What is this starting to look like? It's starting to look like a bull flag, right? Into a pennant or bull pennant, whatever it is that you want to call it. The point is that the dominance has a bullish posturing, right? You have a big impulsive move to the upside and then you consolidate into a tight wedge. Now, whether this goes up or down, the point is you can see it squeezing into a tight apex and you're going to expect a move from this very, very soon. So it's in alignment with what we're seeing on the periods of low volatility, negative funding rates, and the drop in open interest which took place, which signifies a more probable move towards the upside. That means that you're looking for dominance to push on up. But if it does start to break below this trend line over here, then of course, well, maybe altcoins are going to have their day and then our next target is going to be around the trend line at 45%. So kind of the way that I'm looking at the dominance right now is it's really a matter of what comes first, 55% or 45%. We're kind of in the middle of the two. But when price or an asset grinds into a resistance zone, especially following a big move like that, I expect that the probability is higher that it's going to be going up. So keep an eye out on the dominance and be careful when you're trading your altcoins. Now, let's look at where the next higher low will confirm for total 1, 2, and 3. Here's total, the total market cap. We got our trend line right. So lows, high low, potential high low. We can't confirm that yet. So I've put pink boxes over here. I would want to see a closing candle within this pink box, which means that between about I would actually increase that ever so slightly between about 1.18 trillion and 1.2 trillion. If I see a green candle close, any candle that closes within this level, then you can say with high conviction that high low is confirmed and we're looking at prices to move higher. What about total 2? Total 2's level is going to be between 602, let's put it 603. You can just round it up ever so slightly, 603 billion and 617 billion. That's kind of the level that I'm looking at for total 2. And total 3, the next high low, is a long way away. I'm not really willing to dabble in low caps and mid cap alts until such time as I see closing candles above this 402.18 billion level. So into this pink box over here, then I'll say, okay, high, low, confirm. Otherwise, this has just been a very sloppy chart. Next. Okay, Bitcoin pivot levels as well as the 12 and 24 EMA. 12 and 24 EMA, if price continues to hold here on Bitcoin, it will cross towards the upside, and that acts as support. It allows price to continue higher. Pivot level today is at 27,113. As long as you see prices closing above that level, you would expect these EMAs to start to cross, and then you have your potential to break out of the in spirit of bull flag. So here's the flag formation. In spirit of, because it's angled at about a 45-degree angle towards the downside, and that means that you're still looking for a breakout. Ethereum looks very similar, although it's already started to break out of its flag, and you can see front running Bitcoin. You got the cross already between the 12 and the 24 EMA, and your pivot level is at 1,857. Now that means if Ethereum comes into that zone, I'd be treating that as an opportunity as a swing trader to potentially buy the dip and looking for this to continue higher over time. All right, altcoins though. We have to talk about altcoins. 1 inch, I said, probably going to make new lows in the next 72 hours. Do with this information what you will. Why did I say that? Well, if you look over here at the Token Unlocks website, you can see the next event is a cliff unlock, which is happening, well, now it's in about 2 days. And they're releasing 16.65% of their supply. It's a huge amount that's going to be unlocked. And of course, that's going to hit the market, right? That is what the chart looks like, stuck below the 200 MA on the daily. And this is the all-time lows for 1 inch, this price action on the left-hand side. So you have to ask yourself, will this level hold? Let me know in the comments, are you holding 1 inch? If you are, I mean, you really have two options. You can either sell it or you can buy more if it does start to break down. If you have conviction in the project over the long term, then you can buy more. Another big unlock, which I have to bring to your attention, is optimism. Optimism is going to unlock 9% of the total optimism supply tomorrow, which is now today. This is the first unlock for core contributors and investors. At the current token price, there's going to potentially be $600 million in selling pressure, right? Think of market cap of a project at 1 billion. That's still a pretty big project. 600 million selling pressure, enormous, huge. So you have to look at this in relation to what's been unlocked in the past. If it's the first unlock and it's above 5%, pretty damn big, it means that there's most likely going to be a lot of selling pressure. Go to the token unlock dashboard. Here is the URL, token.unlocks.app/?. Okay, you don't need that part, just .app. Hit enter and then it'll take you through to this page and you can see all the different tokens that are coming up with big unlocks. Make sure that you put this on your radar. Remember, the ones you want to focus on are ones that are releasing more than 5%. So it shows over here the percentage. Look there, 9%, 0.3%. Most of them readers percentage, 2.5, not that big, 2.7, 16.7, huge. And you kind of just scroll down, just put on your radar, have a look at this. And if you see something coming up, usually probably people start selling this stuff about 2 to 4 weeks before the unlock. Smart investors are already focused on this. Look, here's another one coming up. Sandbox, 11.1% coming up on the 14th of August. Free trade for you there. Start charting out Sandbox. Look for when price pushes into the resistance levels. If that happens around about 4 weeks before the unlock, easiest short in the world. Simple, just like that. Next, Let's look at Bitcoin over here, still below that trend line over here, but as soon as prices break above this, I expect acceleration very quickly to the upside, and then you can start to target back towards that $32,000 level. We should probably have a quick look at Optimism since we just brought it up. I've already shown you the chart for 1 inch, so let's look at Optimism. Okay, this is kind of what you're looking at. I guess a little bit of support might be found on this trend line over here, which is going to be coming at $1.36. But if it does not hold that, it's going to probably bleed out into the 80 cents level. And then if you go under the 80 cents level, then of course it's going into price discovery to the downside, which means anything goes, right? Anything goes at that point. Another coin I wanted to bring up is AVAX. So the number of active addresses in Avalanche has suddenly started to increase. The daily active addresses are starting to pick up, and that is having an effect on their DEX, which is Trader Joe. So shocking data, big emoji with a mind-blown face over here. Joe has now flipped Bitcoin and Uni to come in at the second spot with 24-hour fees collected. So that's a 24-hour volume. That is pretty big. Check out Trader Joe. It might present some trading opportunities. I can probably pull up the chart. I think I might even have it on here. Let's have a quick scan through. Joe. Where are you, Joe? I know I have this as part of one of my DCA portfolios. Let's quickly bring it up and see what the chart looks like, if it's anything to write home by. Trader Joe. Whilst I pull that up, let me know in the comments if you want to see any other coins as well. And then let me know what's your stance on the market. Are you currently positioned long or short? And then take 1 second out of your day to smash the like button. It really helps to get the show out there. I do appreciate it. I know you guys always do me a solid favor with that, and it does work. So thank you so much for that. Cool. Let's have a look at Trader Joe. Where's Joe? Joe ticker, USDT, right? Okay, here's Trader Joe. Okay, so this is Trader Joe's chart. I mean, look at that. It's been absolutely annihilated from launch. It's pretty much just been down only. Could it be starting to pick up steam and find a new base? Well, it is above the 200-day moving average, so at least that is one good thing. Let's put in some trend lines over here. Grab that. Just kind of see how this fits in. Okay, I mean, look, it's forming a W formation. I can already spot that. Can you guys see that? I always look for new patterns. So if it starts to close here, you'll have confirmation of the W formation breakout, which looks something like this, right? So you got your W, and you'll be looking for a big breakout from that W formation. You need a confirmed close above this middle level over here, which so far you have the candle that's open at that zone. That's probably why it already started to break out. I'll zoom in and then we'll give you more precise levels in a second. Let's just quickly mark this out over here. So this level over here, as long as price is above, the price level is going to be 39 to 40 cents. As long as price is above 39 to 40 cents, that is essentially your breakout level. W formation patterns is a higher low. So you have your lows, you have your next higher low, and it's continued accumulation over here. This is like your markup phase. Close above that level. I know this is already the first day is mega expansion over here. Then you can expect that this is probably going to have continuation. Probably the first area of interest is going to be over here, which is coming in at the order block, which kind of led to the breakdown, meaning price can go as high as 50 cents. So 42 to 50 cents, that's about another 20% move from here. Be careful if you are going to take this trade, because you can see it's already started to move. Probably not something that you want to hold for the super long term. For like weeks or anything, more like just a couple of days trade opportunity. And if it gets real bullish above this level, then pretty much you can start to target towards that 68 cent zone. Okay, so that is Trader Joe for you. What about Bitcoin over here? These are the levels on the 4-hour time frame that we've been focused on. So again, it could be that this area got front run, but this is kind of the zone that I was looking at between 27,300 to about 27,400, around that 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart, the light blue one. We're looking at that to act as support and prices to go higher. You can see the stochastic RSI is still trending down. It might get a bit of a reset. I don't use the stochastic RSI that much, but I do like to use it as just maybe like a third tool in confirmation of whatever it is that I'm looking at. So if that resets over here and starts to cross back up, could look like a nice buy the dip area. Again, remember your invalidation zones. Same thing on the low time frame. If you start to break below these EMAs, that being the 200 and the 50, and price comes back into this zone over here, so something like this, into that zone over there, that is going to be pretty bearish. You might get full on distribution at that point, and then your high time frames, that 25k level could start to become a threat. So if you look here at high block capital, let's look at both Ethereum and Bitcoin. You can see definitely still this is favoring the bears, actually, because remember, liquidity is now starting to move back towards the downside. I think this can go a little bit more, because if you look at the cluster over here, look at the thick blue lines. We don't see the same thing yet on the bottom end. Once you start to see this develop, so as bulls push price higher and higher, more and more orders will start to fill below the price action over here, thus causing liquidity. And when you start to see bright pink and red bands in the same way that you saw over here with the blue area, then you know, as per high block capital, that could be your next liquidation zones. What about Ethereum? Let's go to Ethereum. All right, let's run that. While I run that as well, guys, I want to shout out to one of the sponsors. Check out NordVPN. It's like $3 a month. You get a Banter special or Banter deal. Just click on the link in the description below. If you sign up over there, they give you a partner deal, us being one of their partners, and you can protect your IP address so it doesn't show where you're from. You know, in the age of the internet, it is probably a good thing to do. Okay, Ethereum looks pretty similar over here. If you look at Ethereum on Binance, very, very similar to Bitcoin. Same story over here. You can see it moved. It's in agreement with everything we're seeing on the charts as per its golden crosses on multiple time frames. The move through the liquidity, its primary liquidity was around that 1866 level. It had a much stronger move than Bitcoin, much higher through that level. And again, we were just waiting for more development on the liquidity to build up on the low end. Okay, 1 hour chart over here, kind of watching this area. Let's see a reclaim. This has been a real sticky area. The 27,862 zone on the low time frame. If I start to see candle closes above there again, I'll kind of treat that as a deviation and expect that this might challenge the highs, and potentially we could get into the 28,600. Remember, this is talking to the low time frame traders over the course of today and leading into tomorrow. And then I want to be careful around here, because I think this was the easiest short in the world, by the way. Swing failure pattern. You had so much time. You had like pretty much like 4 hours, 6 hours in which you could have entered into this position over here with your stop above. I think a lot of people entered that short, and consequently, I think those players might get challenged in that position with price pushing up, stopping them out, and then maybe you get a deeper flush back towards that trend line, which is going to be coming at that 27,300 to 400 level. So that is for Bitcoin. Guys, that's a summary. That's the show. It brings us to the end. Smash the like button, hit the bell notification, subscribe to the channel. Nice quick show. Hope you enjoyed the update. And then let me know in the comments as well what you want charted for tomorrow. I know I just asked for your coins, but I don't know, I feel a bit under the weather today, so I'll probably get to those tomorrow. So drop them in the show comments after the live show, because I'll be able to go and view those later, and I'll make sure to bring them up for tomorrow. Appreciate you all. Have a fantastic day. I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers for now.